what we're going to talk about is the project called the Big Box. So we're going to introduce the Big Box and talk about what that means, and this will be a major part of your homework to work on. Okay. Put a horizon line in, not in the middle. Okay, somewhere down a bit, not in the middle. Okay, horizon line. Put your 2 vanishing points out there. I'll get rid of the other ones I was using with that other piece of paper. Okay. And here we go. Here's your left vanishing point. Here's your right vanishing point. And your horizon line, right? Your horizon line. Okay, now this is called the Big Box. See, my thing says the Big Box over there. Over there. That's what this assignment's going to be. Now, what about this big box? Okay, first let's talk about the box. It needs to be big. So I'm going to do my front corner edge. I'm going to not do it in the center because that can sometimes fight you a little bit. I'm going to do it off to the side a little bit. See how big my box is? So I'm going to go from the top to the vanishing point. From the bottom of it to the vanishing point. On both sides. Okay. Now, use your paper, right? Fill your paper. That's why you want this to be big. Okay, however, the box doesn't necessarily immediately have to go all the way to the edge of the paper. So give yourself some parameters on it, but make it big enough that it's going to begin to fill most of your paper here. Okay. Now, I'm just going to darken this just so you can see my box clearly. If I were you, I'd wait to darken your finish lines till after you've constructed everything. Okay, or you brought certain elements to a finish, then do the finish lines. But don't do it immediately or it'll just be harder to erase as you build on here. Okay. What the first thing you're going to do is chunk out 5 things. Okay, you're going to take out 4 chunks of this box. So pretend it's a big chunk of cheese. Pretend it's a big chunk of plaster. Something you can work with. Okay, that doesn't. It's firm. It's solid, but you can chunk pieces out of it. Okay. So take that block and chunk 5 things out of it. It could be a window, a recess window, a channel, a hole, cut a corner off, or whatever. Now everything needs to be square. No circles, no diamonds, no stars, nothing like that. Just square, blocky construction. Okay. So first thing, take 5 things out. Okay. And I'm just gonna run my focuser there. Okay, take 5 things out. Next thing is I want you to add 5 things to it. Those 5 things you add to the block need to be exterior of the original block. If you cut a big hole in here and then went inside of the hole and built a little box, that won't count. Okay, because that's inside the box. Okay, so it needs to be 5 things that are added to the outside of the box, like we did that box on the sample, and then we did a wraparound. That was one thing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, let me talk about this too. Okay, well, okay. 5 things out, 5 things added. You need to have 1 by post recession. Okay. And there needs to be variety and creativity. I'm getting used to who's doing what, or who's capable, of where you are at your drawing level. And so I expect that you be as creative as you can, okay? but there must be variety in this. Now, something I need to show you is, say you did this down here, and even though we have two things taken out of there, this whole process only counts as one thing. Okay, because that's the whole process together. So that's one thing taken out. This is one thing taken out because this is one set. Okay, but this is one thing taken out. That's one thing added on. Okay. So, see what I have here. Okay. So we have the big box is going to have -5 things, +5 things, one post-recession, and it must have variety and creativity. Okay, this is going to be, at least for this assignment that I'm talking to you right now, something that you're going to work on for a week or two. Since we're not having class one of those days, we'll talk more about that later. But anyway, so big box. Below here you have your 8 flying boxes, all one assignment. Okay, so good luck with everything, and enjoy the process. And I want to just show you a couple things, show you how to do a couple things. Okay, so let's put a box up here. We'll build that up here. Okay, vanishing point. Let's do it up a little bit higher. Well, no, it's fine. Do it from there. As long as you're coming from the same point, you can change what that is while you're doing it. That point right there. Okay, so there's two sides of our box. Now let's do a couple things to it. Okay, and hopefully you'll be able to see this as we go. Okay, so here's our box. Well, no, it isn't. We got to get the bottom on. So let's do our last couple lines. Okay, this one I'm not sure how long to go. This one though, I'll hit the other one so I know I can stop there when I get there. Okay, so here's our box. Can everybody see that okay? Okay, so there's our box. Now, again, just for the sake of visuals, just pulling away some of that construction line that goes next to it. Okay. What I want to show you how to do is how to do a channel on this. Okay. So, here we go. So on a channel, if you think of the side of the box like this, right? What we want to do is cut a whole channel out along one edge of the box. Okay? So let's just decide where that's going to cut across here. Let's go there. Okay, that'll be kind of a top part of the cut. And then let's come across here. Okay. Now, we know that if that's cutting that out, we can get rid of that little line in between there. And that begins to help you visualize it a little bit. Okay, so we have the two front edges of our surface over there, and we know where those are. Now, let's just determine how far back are we coming in here. Okay, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could do your lines to the vanishing point now, and then go as deep as you want to. Or you can just come and give yourself a what do you call it? Construction line there to just tell you how deep that's going to be. Okay. So then I'm going to come from my upper corner to my vanishing point over here. And I can draw my line back that far. Same thing here. Come from that corner towards the vanishing point. Okay, I'm sorry, from this corner towards the vanishing point, and I stop at my construction line. That is what I decided how deep this is going to be. Okay. So can you see that side of the channel? You can see how that's cut into there, right? Cutting that shape into this area, running that way. Now we still need to resolve the end over here, and there's a couple different ways you can go about it. But the first would be is ask yourself about the corners, okay? And actually, let's start here. Ask yourself about all these corners. Does this one need to go anywhere else? Nope, it's going to all three. Does this one need to go anywhere else? No. Does this one need to go anywhere else? Well, it goes this way, goes up, and if I went that way, I wouldn't see it. If I went this way, it doesn't make sense. So how about this one? It doesn't make sense to go up, doesn't make sense to go this way. But how about to this vanishing point? Okay, so I do a construction line heading down to this vanishing point. Okay. And what that's doing, if you look over here, that's helping divide between kind of the ceiling of this channel and the back wall of that channel. But what's going to happen over here? So let's ask ourselves about this corner. Okay, we already have it going this way. It's going. We have our up and down. It doesn't make sense to show it going this way. So I think we're fine. This one, we have an up and down. It's going this way. It's going this way, in other words, from this vanishing point. How about this vanishing point? Could we do something? And the answer is yes. We could do something there. Okay, so I'm going to take that until I hit. Okay, we're heading this vanishing point, right? Heading that vanishing point, but I'm going to stop when I hit this other line that we created. Okay, then ask yourself about that corner that you've just created, and in the end, the answer is let's go up and down with it, right? And I think you can visualize that. Let me just, so we have that, and now we're just going to darken this last piece of construction line to get our channel put in there. Okay? Makes sense so far? Okay, now, okay, now I want to come down here and show you something else, okay? I was just deciding how to do this, as you could tell. Okay, so let's do a box down here. Let's just create a box really quick. And sing while we're doing it. Okay, heading to the vanishing point, right? To the vanishing points. We don't need so big a one over here. So let's go this way. Over here though, let's go a little further. And we're going to play with this one a little bit. Okay, now you should be kind of used to this. You kind of should be able to see, hopefully, which corners need to be going where. But if not, just stop and ask yourself about each corner and where you believe it should go, either to a vanishing point or straight up and down. So if you have a line that's not going to a vanishing point or not going straight vertical, then something's off. It shouldn't be there in this drawing, okay? Not in 2-point. Not in 2-point perspective. Okay. So let me just darken these lines. We're actually going to change a bunch, but I just want you to be able to see it. Okay, so there's our main object. Now, honestly, wait to do your finish lines till the end, because when you start doing what I tell you, because Sorry, my train of thought just jumped out. Wait till the end because you're going to do a lot of changing and construction on these, and so wait till the end till you have all your finished pieces and then do your finished lines, okay? But I just darkened it so you could see it. Okay, now we're just going to put a window in here, or a hole, or whatever you want to call it, okay? So first thing too is just kind of picture, you know, on the side of the box what you want to do. We just want to punch a big hole through the side of the box. And you could go either way. It doesn't really matter. But let's do this. Let's put it back here a little bit. Okay, I'm giving myself a construction line and a construction line. Okay. But then I'm going to choose from this vanishing point how high I want that hole to go and how low I want that hole to go. Okay? Can you see that? Then now that we have that decided, I'm going to darken the lines around that mark we just made, this shape. Okay, so now what have we done here? Okay, if you look at this based on the lines, all we've done is just drawn a square on the side of that box, or painted a square on the side of that box, or something like that. We haven't cut a hole yet, right? There's nothing three-dimensional about it. So what do we need to do to make this a hole in the side of the box? Again, run around with the corners if you need to. How about this one? Let's go in there. Doesn't make sense. We won't see it through there, and we already have a vertical. This one, vertical, already going to there. Doesn't make sense to go there. This one, we're already coming from here. Doesn't make sense to show that one. You won't see it, and we already have our vertical. So how about this one? Okay, we have this line that comes from this vanishing point to the right. We have a vertical. Could we see it going this way? And the answer is yes, with a long s at the end. And since you can see where the parameters are, just draw it. Now you can see that hole going back into the cube, right? Into the box. Okay, now what if, let's change this just a little bit. What if we just want this to be a recessed hole, where it goes in a little bit but then stops going in any further? Okay, so in that case, let's just lighten some of this, and let's say we want it to go back in this far. Okay, which at that point, if you think about things, it's gonna terminate where that line's going. Then you just got to do the old corner thing and ask what's happening with it. Pardon me. Sorry about all my throat clearing. This drier air is getting me. Okay, now what we have here is a box, or excuse me, a hole that just goes in so deep. I'm trying to get rid of that line there so you can't see it in the projection. So can you see how we made a hole, but now it's just a recessed hole? It just goes back so far. Or that could be the thickness of wall, and if you can see inside of there, you have to decide if you can see anything else inside of there. But we'll assume that's a little wall in there. So we have a channel, we have a hole. Now let's add something to the box, okay? Let's stick something to the outside of the box. Now, in order to do this, all you really need to do is draw a box that's there, that in the end looks like it's touching. And that's all you really need to do, okay? If you need to put it in a specific place, then you can use what's here and help determine where you want to put it. I'm going to show you something, but this isn't, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to say, what if you wanted to line this box we're going to stick on the side of this box? What if you wanted to line it up with the top of this channel. And we'll just use that as a basis. Don't worry about that if you don't understand what I'm saying, but we're just going to use that as a basis. Like, I want this box to project out of here and the top of the box to be even with the structure of the channel. And if that, again, doesn't make sense, don't worry. Now, the bottom of the channel I'm not worrying about. I'm going to make the box a little bit bigger. Okay, so instead of drawing what would be the front corner edge first to create our box, okay, that's going to stick on here, what I'm doing first here is finding where I want it to be stuck to the box. So that's going to be this edge right here, isn't it? Okay, so this edge is that edge. We're going to take this box and stick it on there. So what do we need to do from here? Oh, we need to find where these lines go. So I'm going to go to the top of each of these, excuse me, the top of the line, pardon me, to the left vanishing point, and draw some construction lines, okay? I know I'm not going to go that far, so I'm going to erase that back. Okay, so there's my construction lines. That's these two construction lines, okay? Now, we can decide how far to go to find our front corner edge. So let's just choose that length. If we don't have anything that's helping determine that, we'll just choose it. Because sometimes you'll be building something else that you want to use as your reference of size. Okay, so now we've built this side of the box, right? So what do we need to do? Now we have that front corner edge. So just, if that's where you're comfortable, now you have that front corner edge. Let's use that as our guiding structure. Okay, there's our front corner edge. Okay, we already have this side, so we're not too worried about that. But we're going to go from the top towards this vanishing point, and from the bottom towards this vanishing point. Okay, and we're just going to decide how deep to make our box. That was just a decision that we're making ourselves. Okay, so let me just darken a couple things here. Let's darken that top. And always when you darken these end lines, go back to the vanishing point. Make sure you're doing it right. Okay, so we have the two sides, but we still don't have the bottom of the box, do we? We have the two sides, but not the bottom. So let's let what we have constructed lead us to the construction of the bottom of that box. Okay. And there we have it, and I'm going to darken also that there. Okay. So we've made a channel, we've made an object that's stuck on the box, we've made a hole. Now the last thing I want to show you is a post-recession based event over here. What do I mean by that? And how am I going to do that? We can use the post-recession model, and that works out great with the center line and going from, you know, the top through the middle to find the base of the next one and so forth. But I'm going to show you a little bit easier way on here to do post-recession, just meaning that each line division I make will be equidistant in perspective. Okay, what I'm going to do is create something on the bottom of this box. Let's just draw the box like this. I'm going to cut it about right there and divide it into 4 equal parts. And in the end, I'm going to remove some parts of it, kind of like a comb or an F that has fallen down or something. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just, this is my guideline, just a construction guideline here across the top. Okay, across the top there. What that line is just showing me this line right here, how high my teeth are going to be, right? My pillars, columns, whatever you want to call them. Now, how do we find center in there? How do we find this center line? Okay, if you think about it, just use this space and do an X from corner to corner. And from this corner, be as accurate as you can. This can get off pretty quick. Okay, and what we found is our center point. So that's going to be our center vertical. Okay, fair enough. Now, just for the sake of not confusing our construction here, I'm just pulling this back a little bit. Okay, now I also wanted to find the center between the edge and the middle line, so make it a quarter. So I'm just going to do the same kind of X finding in this side. Okay, find that center point. And then in this one. Now, as long as I line up good, all I really need is that center point. So I'm just going to draw these two legs just in the middle until I find it. Okay, so here's my center point here. So I'm going to come along and create my vertical line there, and my vertical line right here. Okay, so what have I done? I have created, by dividing things up, I've created these 4 vertical lines. Well, I should say 3, right? We divided it into 4 with 3 lines. All these lines, if I were to face this block towards me, would be the same height and equal distance apart, like this. Equal distance apart, like that. Okay? That looks really confusing. But, in other words, those are all equal distance apart. Okay, now we just need to do our blocky thing. So which parts are we saving and which parts are we cutting out? Going to my vanishing point, and I want to get rid of this side one, and I want to get rid of this kind of, so to speak, middle one. Okay, so I'm going to keep those lines. I'm going to make those dark. Now how about down here? Okay, if I'm going to get rid of this one, which is this one, then obviously this solid edge disappears, okay? And so does this whole corner. Okay, that whole corner disappears on me there. Okay, but are we done? You can ask yourself, how about, okay, that corner is gone, so it has nothing coming to it. How about these corners? If you go to each of those corners, you'll find there's nowhere to go that still shows. If you come over here, nowhere, that goes nowhere. But this guy right here, we go this way, yep, we can go straight up and down, and we can go this way. And so we finish it by putting that in there. So what we've made is this kind of pillar set that's equal parts, but the important part is this is post-recession right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 posts or lines that are the same size in proportion in 2-point perspective. Okay, now let me just suggest something to you also. If it helps you, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're having a hard time seeing something, then if you want to do just a little bit of shading, I don't know if you can even see that. I'll have to do mine a little darker just so you can see it on the projection there, on the camera. Okay, see a little bit of shading? And then I'll shade this too. Why? Because this surface and that little surface in there are both surfaces that face this way, right? They both face this way. And so, or if I came along and hit it, I'd hit that one and I'd hit that one. But these are sideways to it. Now, underneath here, we would hit that one too if we're heading that direction. Okay? So if you want to do just the slightest shading to make it pop and see what you're doing, that's fine. Don't overshade it though, especially don't block anything of construction or finish lines that you'll need me to see. Okay, so we've shown you these three things. So channel, how you spell channel? Hopefully that's not too incorrect. Channel, added a box on to it, right? A hole, and post recession. Okay, so I want you to remember this. Okay, so you might want to come back to this or pause right here, remember where you are if you need some reference to what to do. Okay, and I'll probably put this online too. So I'm now going to remove this because I want you to kind of, well, I just don't want you to refer directly to this. This is just information for the sake of learning how these things work. Okay. What I want to show you here is I brought this back over real quick to show you how to do a wraparound. They're kind of fun. So if you have a box stuck to the cube, or the cube stuck to the box, whatever, how do you make this something that goes up and wraps around the top? Okay, so first thing is, let's continue this edge up to the top of the box. Okay, then let's take these other corner edges and just construction wise just run them up high like that. Okay, now first thing we can do is go, if this is going to be an edge of a box, that's going to be an edge of a box, then you can come in and visually eliminate the lines that are going to be between them. Okay, and then can you still see that? Make sure you use a straight edge. I'm just darkening that real quick. Okay, now just pick a point fairly high up here, and my vanishing point was right there. And I'm coming to the vanishing point from there till I hit the box, till it disappears behind the box. Then I'm going to come from that same point to the vanishing point. Whoops, it's actually over here. I did some other drawing that I came back to show you this. So my vanishing point's actually over here. Okay. So what we've done is extended all these lines up. And then just let that box flop over the top. So that's called a wraparound. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so that's all. That's all that was about. And good luck with that there. Okay. Now, I may have already showed you this, but here's the things we did before to the boxes, right? And it doesn't matter which way you do them. You can do them either way. But I want you to think about anything you can do. Good luck with all this, and we'll see you. Okay. Take care, and good luck. Bye-bye.